What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to build and play Susano in Season 8 of SMITE, and I've previously made a video on how to play Susano in Season 7. That was around a year ago, so I thought I'd just make an updated version just because you guys really enjoyed it. Now I'm mainly going to talk about how to play Susano in Jungle, and you can use the same build in Arena and Joust. The only difference is that instead of the Jungle Star item you'll get a Bluestone Pendant, but the rest is going to be pretty much the same. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now there's two jungle items that you can get as a starter in Conquest, and I personally prefer Bumba's Dagger. You can get Eye of Jungle, it does have some good stats, but I feel like it's the attack speed I probably get on a god that's more attack speed, and I'd use it for that. And the warding is good and all, but I feel like in terms of sustainability, you want to get Boomba's Dagger because it gives your basic attacks, well, it gives you 50 health and mana and heals you 10% of the jungle monster's health, and it gives you 25 mana as well. So I just feel like when you're clearing the jungle, a lot of the time you'll start running out of mana and it'll be really annoying, but it's nice to always get some mana back after killing the jungle camp. And not to mention it gives you 50 health and mana straight up as well. And then in terms of being the jungle star item, you do 30% more damage against jungle monsters, and as an extra bonus you do your basic attacks deal an extra 22 damage as well. So main reason for that is that it basically heals you 10% of the monster's health and gives you 25 mana. You can go Eye of the Jungle if you want. I've tried it, but personally from most of my games I just do better with Bumba's Dagger. And then I always go first to Heartseeker, not Transcendence. I'll go through that in a second. So I'll get Heartseeker. Heartseeker, like first day Heartseeker, because it does give you that extra MP5, which will help with your mana, and 10 power. And it's just because I prefer it more than a 6% movement speed, which I don't personally like starting with that because it's just 6% movement speed, whereas I could have some power 10 and MP5 as well. And secondly, or thirdly should I say, I start with a health chalice. That's 1500 gold, that's 600, 600 and 300. That's your 1500 gold from the start. Most of the time I will back and then obviously start Warrior Tabby. I'll either start first day, second day, or just go straight into it. Just because it helps with the mobility and everything, and it's a lot cheaper than getting Heartseeker, which is going to be 2300. Now the main thing that you guys are wondering is, before I used to go into Transcendence, but personally I just feel like it's just not worth it for me anymore, because if your start feels a lot slower than if you get Heartseeker, and the stats that Heartseeker gives is really good. It gives you 200 mana, 20 MP5, 10% penetration, and straight up, rather than you getting 35 power and then having to stack it, and it's just annoying. You just get that straight up 65 power for just 300 extra gold, and I feel like for 300 extra gold that is just really good. And I do find it really helps with solo lane and guardians as well, because that extra 10% penetration early game does work really well, not to mention the extra damage that Heartseeker does as well. Based on the opponent's health. I think that's enough reasons really, but yeah, you guys try it out. It always works really well for me. And yeah, the only thing you're missing out on is the 10% cooldown from Transcendence, but I just think overall Heartseeker is better. So now I start Heartseeker. Next item I think is a bit obvious. I always go into Jotuns because, as you can see, Susano's abilities are like 5 years long. Before I got that, should I say, it's going to be 16 seconds, I believe. Well, it should update. There you go, 16 seconds, 16 seconds, 16 seconds. That's just crazy. That is really long, so I go straight into cooldown. Even if there is a healer, I will still go for Jotuns, just because in the overall, I need the cooldown, because then I just find myself dying in fights, and it just gets really annoying. So that's why I'll go for the Jotuns. If they have a healer, I'll go Beat Stick, which they, most of the time in Conquest game, they'll always have a healer. The odd chance they don't have a healer, I will probably just go into a Crusher. But for talking about most games that you will be playing, whether it's, I don't know, Death's Toll that 2 characters have or 1 character has, or a med they have, or all the lifesteal that the mages have, and just all of that really. And obviously a lot of the time characters just do have heals. So it's better just to use Beat Stick instead, because it just helps overall. It's annoying if someone has a heal. Even like Death Toll right now, you guys do know that it's a really broken item in terms of healing, especially for hunters. So I just find that any form of healing, not to mention that it just got upgraded to, or updated to 40%, it was 30%. So most of the time I will always go beat stick. And then for the last item I will go Arendite. Main reason, like, well, there's a lot of reasons, but number one, it gives you an extra 10% cooldown. Now you have 30% cooldown. Number two is 75 power, which is really good. Number three, it's not that expensive of an item, like 2600. I don't know, I feel like, well, how much is Heartseeker? Yeah, Heartseeker's 2900. 2600 I think is really good for the stats. Its passive is basically when your ultimate ability has finished casting, you reveal all gods within 120 units for 8 seconds. While moving towards them, you gain 30% movement speed, which is really good with Susano because his mobility is really good anyway. And lastly, when first striking a real target, they take an additional 40 plus 30% of your physical power. So basically, when you go in, you start attacking people, you're gonna do a lot of damage basically, and I do get triple, quadra kills really easily. And then out of the two items, Boomba's hammer is really good. It does give you 300 health, 200 mana, 10% penetration, 20% cooldown, and its passive is really good as well. But personally, I go Boomba's spear. Number one reason is because that gives 20% cooldown, which will mean I'll have 20%, 40%, 50%, 60% with the pot. It's just not really worth it. The penetration is good, but in general, Boomba's spear, the first reason I like it is it does give 60 power, 200 mana, 200 health. Secondly, your basic attacks do 50 true damage now, so that's good against fighting gods. Abilities do 50% against jungle camps. Now you may be wondering, why do you need that late game? Firstly, if you're fighting and you just really need to escape, you don't have any healing really as Susano other than your chalices. Just go to a quick camp, attack them, you'll heal quite a bit actually. 10% of the health, and you are healed for 10% of your mana as well. Heal for 10% of the health, 10% of your mana, and you are given 10 gold. So you get 10%. So basically you just heal quite a bit. And then you get your mana back and you get extra gold as well. So I just like to, leave fights, go to like the 3 jungle camps or whatever, kill them, and then go back to the fight. And yeah, it's just a really good item in general. So that is the full build basically. And obviously if you get to the really late game, I sell my boots, and if they have the solo laner and the guardian, that's obviously going to be really tanky. I like to go into a Titan's Bane. Where's that? So that is what I'll go into most of the time. So you got 10% penetration, and then you got another 20% from there, and then you basically overcap it at 50%, but that's only in your first ability. So you have like a constant 30% penetration. That is just really good for shredding tanks. Like, I can't even tell you guys how strong. So right now you have 330 power, and you're just fighting gods, but the tanks and solos, they actually take so much damage, because not only do you have 30% penetration, you've got Heartseeker as well that's doing percentage health damage, which is just really good, and your basic attacks are dealing 50 true damage, which is also really good, and you also have some penetration from Beat Stick and Jotun's Wrath as well. And even if you cast your ultimate ability, then your physical power, or they take more damage anyway, which is also really good. Now you may be wondering, you only have 30% cooldown, but late game you will get into a 500 pot, and that does give you 10% cooldown as well. So I will get red pot as well, and now you got 370 power. Just to take the situation that they don't have a lot of tankiness, which most of the time they will. So this is going to be your standard build. Adapting a bit if you wanna get something else. You can, I don't know, if you want to be a bit more tanky, I like to get the sledge, because it does give you 250 health, 150 mana, and it does give you a bit of tankiness if you're around enemy gods, basically in a team fight. You kind of get that. Or you can choose to get Bloodforge, which is just really good, because number one, it'll help you get like pentakills and whatnot, because you'll be getting that shield. And yeah, it just gives 75 power. The lifesteal is obviously not the biggest thing, but like 75 power is quite really good, and you get a bit of movement speed as well. But the main thing is going to be the shield that you're going to be getting. It's going to help you survive in fights longer, and if you're surviving longer, you'll get the shield. You can go to camps and then heal from them as well. So those are 3 items. You either get Titan's Bane, Bloodforge, or the Sledge. Most of the time, I'd say 95% of the time, I will go for a Titan's Bane. Now, if you do want to get your max cooldown without getting the pot, you can get Hydra's Lament. You guys may be wondering, why is he not, gotten Hydra's? I just feel like a lot of the time, I don't know if it's just me, like, don't get me wrong, it's a really good item. Number one, you're probably going to be overcapping cooldown, which I feel like if you get it from the red pot, then you don't really need it from this. It is really good for auto attack cancels with your 3, but I feel like with the new Boomba Spear, if your basic attack is doing 50 true damage, and this is only giving you 40 power, it's probably just better to get Titan's Bane, because that'll give you that penetration that you need. This is really good. Again, if you want to get that is perfectly fine. I feel like it works well as well. But in terms of the big team fights, if you're ulting like 4 gods, 5 gods, the Titan's Bane is just better, and these 6 items in general are just better. But yeah, you can get Hydra's Lament as well if you think that works better for you. Me personally, I just feel like the core items of Susano are these 6 items. So that does it for the build. Every game, in terms of relics, now I'm going to talk about in terms of every game, I always go Blink first. Second relic, you can choose between, I either go Aegis, Beads if there's some next level, CC that keeps on annoying me, I'll get a Beads. But most of the time it'll be Aegis. If I feel like I'm just surviving a lot, I'll just go into a sprint, but most of the time it's Blink, obviously because it's Susano and then Aegis. Now to talk about why I probably think that Susano is the best jungler. Number one, when I say mobility, I don't mean like a Thanatos ult or a Rat ult or a Thor ult that he just gets around or whatever. Mobility, I mean just teleporting and doing that and blinking. And it's just really good for getting away from enemies, really, when you're trying to escape. Or even go to somewhere, you're just trying to go there. And it'll help you get to places a lot faster, and then again when you go to fights your cooldown will be low, your cooldowns will be ready again, and then you can fight again in fights. So that's one of the reasons why I think he's the best jungler. Number two, I think his burst in general is really good, so I'll just tell you the combo that I do most of the time. I will do it in a raw because the other people move too much. So one of the main things that you got to remember out of Susano is his cloud is really good if you time it really well. Whether it's a Kali or anyone that has an escape, I always start with my 2 and put a cloud on them. I wait for them to do some stuff, and then I teleport and attack them. So as you can see, after I pull them, it's a guaranteed 2. It's a guaranteed 3. So number one tip, always do your 3 after your 2 if you want to guarantee it, because that is guaranteed, and then you can teleport to them if you want and basically combo from there. Tip number 2 is, if you're fighting someone who is difficult to fight, always start with your ult, because if you're fighting and oh I missed and I'm really low and then I'm dead before anything even happens, he's just really weak, that's why that happened. But yeah, always start with your ult. So you're fighting them, your ult is charging up, and then you're just going to basically kill them. So that's tip number 2. I'll just quickly go out and demonstrate on him. I got 5 seconds. So yeah, main thing, start with your ult, you let it charge up, they'll die mid-fight really. So I'm like, oh, I didn't even have to use my 1 because he already died from the ult. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is, well, I don't know if this works everywhere, well, it probably doesn't. Tip number 3 is don't necessarily always throw all your abilities out in case you do need to escape. So if you're going into a fight and you're like, I might die here. So if you do your 2, don't use your 3. Use your ult and everything, but don't use your 3, because I just killed him and now I can get away. Okay? So I see a lot of people just spam all their 4 abilities and then they're just stuck and then they die. So either don't use your 1 or don't use your 3, whichever you prefer really. You can use your ult because that's that's not a mobility thing you have. So because your 1 and your 3 always help you escape, if you don't need to use both of them, don't overkill, because then you might end up dying if someone does catch up to you. Most of the time I'll just do this. That's what I'll do most of the time, just because then I'll have my 3 to do anything else that I want to do. But if not, if they are someone that's really hard to fight, then of course then use all your 3 abilities, because then that'll be really easy. Okay, just missed his ult. Actually, another think about it, most of the time I will actually use my 3, just because I'll probably finish them off with my 1. So putting into tip 3, yes, save your cloud, it'll help you go really far. If not, you do that, and then if you don't manage to kill them, you can kill them with your first and second slice, and then use your 1 to dash away if you see their teammates coming. So that's tip number 3. I think that's just in general, yeah. That's his tips in general, I guess. In terms of leveling abilities, always max your 1. So Conquest, I start with my 1, then I get my 2, and then I get my 3. It should technically be 1, 3, and then 2, but I don't know, I guess the base just 80 damage I like of the 2. That's why I'll go 1, 2, 3, 1 again, all, and then I max my 1 first, because number 1, it lowers the cooldown of it as you do level it up, and number 1, it's a 3 times damaging ability. Then I'll just, switch between any of the 3 really, because the main ability that you're going to be using is your 1. The cloud is really good, the ult is good, the 2 is good, so I guess I'll just do 3, 2, ult, 3, 2, ult, 3, 2, ult, or whichever order you want to do really. But I guess one tip I would give is level them equally, because one of them on their own is, if it's just OP and the other one's just not good at all, you want them all to be like equal when you're leveling them. So max your 1 and then just switch between your other 3 abilities. And I think that's everything in terms of Susano. This is the best build that has been working for me. I'll just quickly get a speed potion.
How much for just this?
And I'll just show you guys one last time. The main things I do is just that. And that's basically what you just do. Probably said before that I mostly do my 2 and then my 1. It basically depends on the situation. If I'm 100% honest, I'll do both a lot of times. If I'm fighting, I don't know, like a god that has an escape, I'll always do this, because they'll do that and then they'll jump and then I'll teleport to them and then I'll kill them. If they don't really have much of an escape, I'll just do that, and I'll just kind of just fight them like that, and then oh no, the teammate's coming, and then I'll escape. But yeah, that's pretty much how you build and play Susano in SMITE. If you guys want to see a tank Susano build, then leave that in the comment below. I can look into that as well, but I've not really played tank Susano in Season 8. I mainly just played him Assassin, or should I say jungle, and I think he is one of the best junglers that is there. Mainly because I think the thing that makes him really good is his 2. It's just good for pulling gods in, and then you and your teammates can just kill them basically. Not to mention his ult is really good for team fights because it does knock them up. And yeah, I think I have covered everything. I've done the build you want to do, I've done how you want to play him and some tips, and I've done the level ability order. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If there's any other gods you want to see or any questions you have about playing Susano, be sure to leave in the comments below. I've been playing him a lot recently. And other than that, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.